everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka... And we are back with another Twitter thread. Today we're talking about the minutia of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes, out of the blue, individual cards become playable. And often it has nothing to do with what they do, and everything to do with what they are. Case in point, at present, the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye is one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And any card, regardless of its utility, is suspect for play, provided it is a level 1 fire. This has led from everything from Jet Synchron to TG Rocket Salamander to be considered playable in top decks. So today I'm asking you what cards, because of teeny tiny characteristics, are hitting way above their weight class. Let's see what you came up with. Okay, Dueling Book. Show me level 1 tuner, Dragon Ruler attribute. Sounds playable to me. It was crazy that if you had printed a level 1 Dragon tuner with a slightly positive effect in 2014, it would have been a $150 card. We wanted to make Crimson Blader. I don't know what to tell you. What is my purpose? You were the first completely generic down-pointing Link 2. It's crazy to think about this, but there was a period of time when we didn't have a lot of Link monsters, and we were all horrified that Power Code Link was going to include a card this powerful.
Basically, this is a good Cyrus monster because it just requires 2 monsters. That can mean tokens, 2 tokens or whatever.
The moment a Winged Beast monster exists and is a negate, a form of removal on summon, or prevents the opponent from playing the game, you know the birds are coming in hot. That's correct. The necessary amount of good stuff that a Winged Beast monster has to do to be considered playable is so far below anything else in terms of type attribute combinations, and that's because of, say it with me, the beautiful birds at the Fluonderies. Oh man. Thankfully, this card has not seen a ton of consistent play over the course of its lifespan, but now we have an entire class of cards that are played just because they bridge well. Who would have thought that we would be playing Archfiend Eccentric in the year of our Lord 2023? Let's hope we can leave it there and not bring it into the new year. Ava says, POV, you are a Dark Dragon Link 3 monster that can be summoned while Guard Dragons are on the field. Your materials are generic, your effects will never be used. You are a downward pointing arrow and nothing else. You will be playable in meta decks for 5 years. Did you know Triple Burst has effects? It like reanimates a Link 2. Anyway, the important part of this card is that little line, 2+ monsters accept tokens, which broke the dragon lock of cards like Guard Dragon, Elpie, Pisty, and Agrippin. Coder has a very specific one. During the period of time when Zodiac Broadbull was playable, a significant amount of pendulum strategies still flourished. Why? Well, there are 2 cards that fulfill the condition on this card, being Beast Warriors, and have complementary scales. Dragoons of Draconia, a Beast Warrior at 2, and Performapal King Bear, a Beast Warrior at 7, enabled you to set up scales in pretty much any deck that was willing to devote main deck space to it. Dyer says, yep, 2. It's so funny that for literal years, every single card that came out and had 2 stars right up there in the top right-hand corner was immediately suspect as a top tier playable. We were playing Penny. We were playing Capshell. We were down bad for anything but a vanilla. And occasionally a vanilla if you were on Melfi's. Hasher has got the answer. Level 2, Light, Dragon, Normal, Tuner. All these attributes put Galaxy Serpent far above where one would expect a monster with no effect and 1,000 attack points should be. You know, I hear that a level 2 normal monster that can be summoned off Draconet can make a level 5 synchro. And I wonder what Dragon Link would do with that. I imagine that the Konami R&D, every time a new archetype with a level 1 monster in it, that the 3 guys who design all the cards have to genuinely ask, will we be banning Link Haribo out of this? That day is coming. Someday in the far-flung future, we will have to send this card out to pasture. It might be now. You know what Popular does with this card? With the release of Punishment and similar cards, we transformed a ton of extra deck monsters with okay secondary effects into insane toolboxes. Really changed how people see and judge extra deck monsters. There's a whole class of cards that just exist to live in your extra deck and be yeeted directly into the graveyard. TG over Dragonar, you'll notice, is a 5-star non-tuner Dark Dragon, which means that TG can theoretically make Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity as a result. Additionally, DDD Duo Don King Kali Yuga showed up a ton in weird Raid Raptor decks for a short period of time because he technically fulfills the condition on the Phantom Knight's rank up magic launch. Vady says, I sure do love Beast Warrior Wing Beast links that suddenly became way more accessible because of direBRIGADE. These two were crazy. Period of time when you couldn't print a Beast Warrior Winged Beast or Beast Link monster without expecting to see it summoned 1 bajillion times against one of the top decks in the format. The fact that anyone ever purchased a copy of Varslager, the Desperate Doom Eagle, should show you just how desperate these people were for playables. When building Magic-y Transcendosaurus, I found this guy is the perfect dude. He's a level 3 for AFD, he's a dinosaur for Lost World, he's a normal monster so Sargass Lost World can pop the baby in the deck, and he has a low enough attack that I can summon Xeno with the new Evo pill using it and Merrymaker. If I ever sit down across from a two-mouthed Dark Ruler, I'm quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! So currently, Sharks do have access to the full Armored Xyz line through exactly Leviathan Dragon, the only number water rank 3 or 4 that can detach proactively, which puts you under the necessary material to go into Fortress. Being a level 4 rock during Adamancipator format meant you were immediately up for consideration when building your deck. You gotta understand, the cards that were competing with Tackle Crusader were legitimately the Maui statue. If you were a 4-star rock, it was basically white privilege. Tackle Crusader, Supplier, Revival Goal, Gate Blocker. They were playing Gate Blocker in case you were on Mystic Mine. This is a great one. Once Zeus became playable, if you could attack directly and were an Xyz monster, you were immediately one of the greatest cards in the game. Skycav for 2s, Titanic Moth for 7s. These cards are not worth the cardboard they are printed on, but I remember a time when Skycav was like $20 as a result of this. Before there was the level 1 fire, there was the 200 defense fire. So many cards made playable by virtue of this card existing. It's hilarious that they were like, right. Flamvel is full of monsters that have 200 defense, but forgot that like there were also other monsters with 200 defense in the game. You know, the Snake Eyes. Tri-types between direBRIGADE, the Raikas, and Psychic Processor. Any cards with these types will soon be examined under the lens of, okay, but can I put it in the pile? I like this a lot. I like this a ton. I like that they're like putting tri-types together and being like, that's right, there is a reason to play like the worst reptile you've ever seen. Yeah, you can consider playing some terrible ass Psychic and Cyberse monsters for the benefit of this card. This answer isn't perfect, but does touch on a condition that is always relevant. If you are a level 5 or lower fusion monster. For so long, that just meant you were immediately being considered for inclusion in any deck that was playing instant fusion. Now, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, after the release of Fusion Destiny and Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, every Destiny hero with any text on it at all was immediately suspect for top tier meta play. They were like, I don't know, like maybe Celestial will draw you 2 cards once in a blue moon. I guess like Dasher is not terrible. Duel Links. Great Duel Links answer here. For a significant amount of time, any card where you could pay an arbitrary amount of life points was immediately not only playable, but like the most broken card in the game because it could trigger skills that fired when you were under a certain life point threshold. This was the most frustrating one of all of them. Another good one, Cupid Pitch. Yeah, this card made a significant amount of cards playable. As soon as it was released, everyone started looking for level 8 or lower monsters with 600 defense. Who remembers what this made playable? Nemesis Corridor is playable in Master Duel because of this card, but Plasma, all the VW guys, Caligo, Clawcrow, Hopbeard. So that's that. I look forward to the next time Konami prints a card making an arbitrary stat line or attribute type combo absolutely broken. Hopefully next year will be the year of wind. 3, 2, 4. 3, 2, 4. 3, 2, 4.